Hey, good morning, everyone. I know it's almost lunchtime, so I appreciate you guys all hanging in there with me. My name is Dave Romanchuk, and I am the Director of Product Management for Revenova TMS. Just before I begin, I wanted to extend a word of thanks to you all for your time and attention here today for this demo, and a special thanks to FreightWaves for continually hosting these great events and allowing me the opportunity to speak with you all today. So the first question on everyone's mind, what exactly is Revenova TMS and what makes it special? Well, simply put, since our founding in 2014, Revenova has pioneered the approach of a fully cloud-based, CRM-powered TMS application built entirely on the Salesforce cloud platform. So for those that don't know, if you do a quick Google search, you will learn that Salesforce consistently ranks as one of the top CRM cloud providers in the entire world. Much of their success is due to their strengths in scalability, high customizability, end-user security, and what's becoming increasingly more and more prevalent in today's world, their AI-powered analytics tools. Salesforce spends millions of dollars in R&D every year improving each aspect of their platform, which enables application developers like Revenova to focus 100% on building out new and innovative product features like some of the ones I'm going to show you here today. I think our success speaks for itself. Today, Revenova is used by 8 of the top 100 3PLs in North America. So with all of that said, I'd like to move on to the reason why we're all here and dive into the demo. Now, as you can imagine, Revenova TMS handles all of the standard TMS functionality that you would expect. So instead of giving you just a general product overview, instead, I'm going to focus on a handful of my favorite tools that truly puts the power into the hands of the end user. The first tool that I'm going to show you is a tool that we call LaneIQ. LaneIQ is an extremely versatile tool that can be used by a number of different users within your business, depending on their business function. You can think of LaneIQ as your one-stop shop for your lane-by-lane analysis of your internal load volume, your internal truck posting volume, and also your historical quote history on both the customer and the carrier side of things. So the way that this tool works when you first land on the tool is you're going to come in here and type in the lane that you're attempting to analyze. So in this instance, I'm going to type in Dallas to Tampa. And after I've entered my lane, I'm going to hit the search tool at the top right here. And what you're going to notice is immediately the system went out and searched your entire database and looked for all of the loads, the available loads in your system, the 2 that I have here, that matched on the lane that you've identified. So we have Dallas to Tampa as the lane, and not only that, but I also added the radius of 75 miles from that origin and destination. So immediately it pulls back all of the loads that would meet that criteria within the time period identified. So you can imagine this is very helpful when you have a carrier on the phone that's looking for a load and wants to give you a quick quote. You can come in here, do an available load search, and on the far right hand we have a new carrier quote button in which you can pop up, generate a new quote for this carrier, and immediately tender the load right to them right from this page without leaving it. Now just below that, the other section that popped down you might have noticed is the truck posting section. So this is kind of the inverse of the available loads, but rather it's the available internal truck postings that your users have entered in the system that can be used by anybody in your system to cover freight. So as you can imagine, if you do a load, or you have a carrier that calls you up and says, I have a truck in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, and you have no idea where that is, so you pop it in your tool to do an available load search, and as you can see, I have no loads available. So instead of losing that carrier's contact and never hearing from them again, what you can actually do is you can quickly click the new truck posting button here, enter the carrier's information. I'm going to enter Manzer Trucking. We'll say Elk Grove Village. Destination Tampa. And the date available, we'll just call it today, and then we'll save that new truck posting. And so you've captured that carrier's information from the phone in a few simple clicks. So what'll happen is, let's say in a minute, a customer calls in and has a load going from Elk Grove Village to Tampa. Anybody using this tool will be able to pull it up and see that right away. Below that, we have the sales quote history, which, as you can imagine, shows all of your quote history on both the carrier and the customer side. You'll have each mode of transportation in your system identified. Oh, I should probably pull up my Dallas loads here. A little more data to look at. And what you can see is your data is summarized from 3 days all the way to 3 years. So you can truly get a good look at your lane history from this one tool. That's the summary data, and then below that you can go dive into the details of these specific loads that you've moved, whether it be the past 7 days all the way to 3 years, both on the customer side and on the carrier side. And then at the very bottom, you have your all carrier quote history, which is all of the loads that carriers have quoted, regardless of if they've actually won the load or not. So the next tool that I'll move on to is a tool that we call RateIQ. And RateIQ is kind of a tool that works in tandem with LaneIQ. You can think of RateIQ as an AI-powered analytics tool that will provide for you a predicted carrier rate, spot rate for the load that you're attempting to move. So right now I'm on a load in Revenova that's going from Dallas to Tampa. And on the right-hand side, we can see that RateIQ has predicted that you can expect to pay roughly $1,800 for this load on the spot rate. So where this calculation comes from is if you expand the drop-down window here, you're going to see all of the different sources of data that were fed into the RateIQ calculator to calculate that predicted rate. So anything from your internal system, so that's all of your local data, and then all of the other sources of data that you might have. And I'm happy to report that in the Revenova release coming out in about a week, the summer release, we're actually exposing a public API that will allow you to feed data from any external source that you have into RateIQ to provide more data into this predictive rate calculation. So that's RateIQ, and then the last tool that I'm going to show you with the limited time that I have is one of the actual native platform tools that Salesforce offers, which is the reports and dashboards. The reports and dashboards in Salesforce are highly customizable and very easy to use and set up. When you're looking at a dashboard, you can quickly click into a particular individual that you're attempting to assess, and that's going to open up a report where you can view the details and do further investigation. I want to thank you for your time. We have a booth set up in the back left corner. Thanks again.